We're live.
All right, welcome to the farm. This is best ball stream number 2 of the year. I'm already 11 drafts deep. This is just for underdog. I've done several in DraftKings as well. I covet the dual winner. Obviously you can win one, but can you win twice the same contest in the same year for
Impossible.
both? It's not
Impossible.
impossible, right? If you obviously I like to correlate builds. If you have a similar correlation build that does make it to the top, it's not unlikely. But just getting through all
Yeah.
those rounds and surviving, getting pod luck is going to be the real challenge. But today we're gonna start by breaking down some of the undervalued running backs and receivers. I think we'll go about two each. Keep this video pretty short. Just at the current ADPs, and I think ADPs that are not going to stand for long. But before we jump in, I just saw something come across. So obviously, we had mentioned this. If you've listened to any of our content before, that we're big East Carolina fans. We both went to East Carolina. Did you see who we just signed in basketball?
Who?
Maxim Klitschko, Vladimir Klitschko's son, which is absolutely insane. Dr.
Insane.
Iron Fist himself. If
Is he
him,
any
if
good?
Vitali and Vladimir ever show up, that's going to be a duo you don't want to throw hands with. Yeah, it's
No.
pretty. I think Vitali is currently the mayor of Kyiv in Ukraine, so it's kind of fascinating. And his son is what 7'1", 7'2", a decent big. I mean, obviously he's going to East Carolina, so he's probably
I was
nothing
gonna say,
special.
yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say he's probably not very good if he's going to ECU. No offense, but
just
like
just cool. Period. I mean, he's going to be one of our. I mean, a great signing, right? Like he played for the national team in Ukraine. Doesn't mean anything, right? It's Ukraine, right? But it is a kind of a cool little artifact there that I just saw come across. I think he just committed. So yeah, I mean, we don't get a lot of big men in East Carolina, especially in basketball. The UNC, Duke, State, all these local schools that are much better. Wake Forest, but to get a 7-footer like this, 7'1", 7'2", could be a lot of fun. So. But let's go ahead and talk about best ball and what we're targeting. I'll let you kind of kick us off.
all right.
You can go
Yeah,
where
and
you
there's
want. Running back,
yeah,
receiver.
yeah. I'm not gonna go in any particular order. And again, this is kind of like somewhat of this is a process show as well. Like where we go, like this will change over time. I think this is like current state, right? Like you have to have when you draft teams, you draft 11 teams, you have to have a strategy on how to draft those teams. So this player is a guy that I'm going to end up with on a lot of teams. And oddly enough, he's in the first round. And so, like, part of the strategy behind this, and this is, I'll throw out some stats for you, and I think you may like this as well. But pretty much like anybody past, I'm going to call it Puka Nakua. So around that 4 to 5, so if I get that spot in a 12-man draft, I'm going to be drafting Ashton
Yeah,
Genty.
in no particular order. Gibbs, Bijan, Jamar Chase, and Puka Nakua should be your top four in
Yeah,
any
top four.
draft.
To me, it's like, okay, JSN, I'm somewhat somewhat skeptical there. I think Jonathan Taylor, like, still obviously has RB1 upside. Christian McCaffrey, again, worried about the injury. Amon-Ra, I mean, the competition is getting a little bit stiffer. He's getting a little older.
Well, Jameis, yeah, I see what you're
Hold
saying.
on, let me just get to my points here. CeeDee Lamb, like, okay, CeeDee Lamb's got now competition there as well, like with Pickens, and you even saw Pickens take over at some points last season. Justin Jefferson, I mean, like, I don't fully trust in what that offense is going to do. Minnesota, like, yeah, you could be a believer.
Murray.
Like,
who knows what Kyler Murray is going to do?
There's a lot of question marks. James Cook, and like, again, there's an argument to be had there, but then Ashton Genty. And so, like, part of me is thinking, I mean, again, this is sophomore season. Ashton Genty is the dark horse for the RB1 overall, like potentially the top fantasy scorer. I went back to like sophomore seasons of all time. And Dylan, bit of trivia here. Who was the number one sophomore season? Like this is a guy from like legends of old. If I give you the team, you'll know it. But like he had the best all-time sophomore season. And then there's a guy a little bit older than him as well. But let me see if you can guess the guy at the top. He's a guy that we watched play a little bit. We were young. But I want you to see if you can guess who it is.
Interesting. Let's go Jamal Charles.
No. I'll give you one more shot. This is, I mean, he
Hey,
wore a
what-
lightning bolt.
Just give me. Oh, LT. Easy.
Yeah, LT. And so, and so in that season, I think he had like something like 16 touchdowns, 100 receptions, like 2,200 all-purpose yards.
He was electric. They're a little bit different runners, but like
okay, let me get to the point. The second guy on that list, right, is a Marshall Faulk. So this guy didn't catch pass. I think caught like the 60 range and rushed for like 2,600 yards, right? So how I envision this, I feel like he could end up top 3 on this list, and it will be a combination of what LT does and a combination of what Marshall Faulk does. And you saw glimpses of that last season. I do think, and just gonna go back to the LT season, like people like the knock against this is like, oh, the quarterback play, but like in the LT 2002 season, it was a combination of Doug Flutie and and Drew Brees. And so like this is not the Drew Brees that played for the Saints. This is the Drew Brees that was still like learning how to play football.
Yeah, but I mean, and I see what you're saying. I think just a bet on talent is important.
But
right?
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm getting to that point. It's like he does a little bit. Like he's a better pass catcher than Marshall Faulk was. Although that team was elite, right? Like that was the Kurt Warner team. And I don't think he's as good of a pass catcher as LT, but it'll be a combination of those things. There's a real path to 80 receptions and 16 touchdowns.
80 receptions is insane for Ashton Jeanty.
Oh, no, but I think last season people were saying he could get up to 70. I think it could be in the 70 to 80 range. If he does 70 to 80 receptions, 2,300 yards and 16 touchdowns, like that is going to rank top 10 on the list. And he will be a number one overall, like potentially number one overall fantasy player, especially in the best ball format. And so like, I also feel like running back's a little bit weak. So part of my strategy is to like kind of load up on those guys early. I'm not into the
zero RB this year.
RB. Not yet. Just not like currently. Like and that.
Yeah,
that
let me
strategy, hold on. Let me get to this point, and then. But it is a talent bet too, right? Like I think there is a lot of like question marks still with the offense, but I think it will be better. It's got to be better than it was last season. And we saw in games last season that Ashton Jeanty took over. He can do it in the pass game. He can do it in the run game. And if the offensive line is slightly better, you could see him contend for one of the greatest RB sophomore RB seasons of all time. And I know this could be controversial, but I would take him ahead of a lot of those guys. And so like pretty much after the top three guys in the drafts, and I've drafted Puka Nacua as well, but outside those top four, I'm going to be drafting Ashton Jeanty, which means I'm going to end up with like 50 to 60% best ball, which is going to be a heavy stand. It's going to be a heavy stand. Like that is the strategy right now. And like over the course of 150 drafts, it may not turn out that way, but I know.
This one of those guys. I love Jeanty. I love him, but his ADP is not going to go up. His ADP is not going to change. So, get Ashton Jeanty.
It doesn't matter. You don't have to draft ADP. You draft your guys.
Just draft your guys. And my main point is I love Jeanty, but I don't think it's going to be so much pass game. I think you're going to see guys like Bowers and I think obviously Beck and the receiving core. I think the biggest bowl case. Yeah, no, but Ashton Jeanty doesn't play that role. Like he didn't profile that way in college as a pass catcher. Although he did it. He's a guy that could score 15 touchdowns this year. If the Raiders 100%. Offense is good, and that's where I think the value is. He could rush for 12 to 1,500 yards and score 15 touchdowns, and then you're looking at RB1. I think he can have the Jonathan Taylor type season where Jonathan Taylor doesn't catch a lot of passes, but can absolutely just run pure. And as a pure runner, you watch him on tape. Ashton Jeanty is an absolute monster. If he can stay healthy, I can absolutely see case for him being RB1. Where I disagree is I don't think it comes to the pass game, and it's baked into his value there. But I think in that round, I don't disagree where, I'll cycle a little bit more than you. But I definitely think I love when Ashton Jeanty falls kind of below his current ADP. And you can get him kind of the end of round one, beginning of round two. And I think it's just a great value there. And to your point, you want to start off an RB. Everyone's transitioning into the 12 and 13 personnel groupings this year. So it's just more run heavy. And I think you're going to see a lot of benefit for Ashton Jeanty there. As long as the Raiders can find their pass blocking, right? We just want to make sure the system works better. Sometimes the systems just work better with a cohesive unit around them, better quarterback play, better wide receiver play.
I disagree that you think Jeanty's not going to be a pass catcher. He had 73 targets last season, and there was games he didn't even play. 73 targets. He had 55.
No, I'm not saying he's not going to be a pass catcher. That's never what I said. I said
55 catches is insane. 55 catches in his rookie season in an offense that didn't have in their pass catching game. Did it get any better? No. Like, is Naylor better than what they had?
Be healthier this season, and part of what you saw from Jeanty last year
is a better offense going to help. Is a better offense going to hurt them?
It's going to help Jeanty, and this is what I mean by that. In fantasy, this is just a fact. She win by touchdowns. Once again, we're looking at underdogs specifically. Jeanty is more valuable for me on there because I don't think obviously it's a half point PPR. I don't know if he's the same catch upside on DraftKings, and based on what you're saying, you think he does. This is just where I would disagree. I think the offense is. I think his upside comes through rushing and comes through touchdowns this year. But what he can lead the league in.
This is why I painted the picture. I wanted to give you Marshall Faulk and LaDainian Tomlinson because I think he finishes right between those guys. Like Marshall Faulk was 26.
On tape, he's a very different talent. On tape,
Hold
he's a
on,
very
hold on,
different
hold on,
talent than
hold
those
on.
guys.
I'm talking about production. I'm talking about production. That production at the end of the season, you could see a combination of what those two guys did, right? Like not the ceiling in reception that LT had, and not the ceiling in yardage that Marshall Falk had, but a lower version of the receptions, but a better receiving, like rushing total. And I feel like that is kind of what you could get out of Genty this season. And so like he'll be, again, 50 to 60% play for me up there.
Which is a crazy stand, but once again, it's going to be hard to get 50-60% depending on your draft slot, right? So like because he's a first round draft pick in most best ball formats.
No. Basically, it's a simple formula. It's a simple formula. It's the four guys above him, right? So it's like for me, it's going to be, what is that? 60%. 60%. I can get 60% of Genty if I stick to that, because I won't draft anyone else.
It's not apples to apples. You don't rotate that draft slot position, right? So you really could get it could skew you.
Over
the
course of
top four picks 60% of the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Over the course of the 150 drafts, I'm going to end up with 50% if I go with that strategy for the entirety of the best. Like that's low ball. Like that's like if the odds play in my favor.
I love him. I love Genty, and he's a guy that I'm very high in. But I just don't
mix it the best ball.
Yeah. But once again, my bull case is on the Raiders, and for Genty to be what he needs to be, the whole offense needs to be better. They need receiver production. When you're one-dimensional, if you only have Genty, it's bad. They stack the box like they did last year. He had no room to run. They need the receiving core to step up. And that's why I kind of like taking shots on guys there. I think if the receivers step up, you're going to see Genty have a much better season. Offenses work way better off of each other, right? There's just if all you have is a threat of the run with Genty, which you saw last year, it was just he got eliminated from the game multiple times because they were just stacking boxes. You don't want that to happen this year. But yeah, that's sorry. We long-winded away, but I love Genty, and I more or less agree with you on the point that he could be an RB1 this year. I don't know about his receptions, but I'm definitely bullish on the case that he could be an RB1.
Yeah, but what do you think his receptions
I don't know. I think with a healthy Brock Bowers, with a healthy Brock Bowers, you could see 45 receptions.
So you just said they'll have more offensive possession. So it's like I think it's like how will the volume
once again, let's just look at the nuance of that. And I don't want to belabor this point too much, but like Austin Genty, part of the reason he had so many receptions last year is the Raiders were constantly down in games. Like
they're not
they are in a perfect. Let me finish my point. You stated yours. In a perfect world, Ashton Genty, if the Raiders are up, they're running the ball. They're not passing to Ashton Genty. That's just the facts, right? So if I think Ashton Genty can lead the league in rushing, which I do in rushing yards this year, it's because they're up. And he's not a guy that's going to profile as a scat back that's going to catch passes schemed up for him. Those short area targets.
Interesting because the game that he scored
those short area
that they dominated. It's not like they weren't down.
Listen, you can't. That's chicken or
the
egg.
I'm saying, they weren't up many. They weren't up much last season. And the time
all I'm saying is I love.
A few times they were up. They were throwing down.
I love Genty. I love Genty, but in the short area passing game, if there's a target there, it's going to go to Brock Bowers. That's the primary target. If Mendoza's looking to dump the ball down, and if it's Kirk Cousins, maybe it's Genty there. But my point is, he's not going to get many schemed up receptions. That's just the way it works in that offense.
No, that's a fair point.
Yeah. So it's just the truth. I see Genty being a rushing leader, but you cannot say he's going to get 80 targets again and have full confidence there.
No, I think he definitely get 80 targets again for sure. I think it'll be again. I disagree. 80 targets to me is like probably like what the line. I think it's probably 70 to 80 targets is the line.
No, it's too many. Too many. If you project the Raiders to take a step forward, he's not going to get that many targets. It's just the truth. And I project Mendoza and the new offensive sets get Pete Carroll's old ass out of there. They have a new system there. It's going to be better, more conducive to the Raiders being a better football team.
Agreed.
And better football teams do not play from down. You're not going to see as many checkdowns as running back. That's just the fact of the matter. I hope the receivers take a step forward. That's going to help Ashton Genty. And overall, a better offensive environment is going to be better for him. Once again, you win fantasy football and DFS football and best ball football with touchdowns. You need the touchdowns. If he catches, let's just say he catches 60 passes and he scores 8 touchdowns, that's just not enough. You need him to get 10 to 14 touchdowns. I think it's possible. Yeah. It's possible he leads the league in rushing. So we're both high on Ashton Genty in different ways, I think. But let me get to my guys.
Projected targets Projected targets. This is kind of exactly in line. Is for 2026 is 65 to 80, and that's perfect.
Yeah. Where I would lean more low end and you lean more high end there, but
exactly, yeah. Okay, get your guy.
So this is I'm gonna go a group of guys here, mostly just because I think they're ADP followers, and it's just from the same team. So you want to stack these guys together, and that's Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones. I just think in ADP right now they're going off the board at 121, 122, 123, that range. That's just too low for a starting running back in the Minnesota Vikings offense. It's just the fact they brought in Claiborne in the draft. That's all they have, and these two guys, if they stay healthy, The reason I like kind of pairing them together, something in best ball you've noticed in the last few years, backfields are mostly split. And Jones and Mason both had successful points last year where they were weekly winners. So I like the idea of pairing both of them. You're going to get multiple touches, probably 10 to 15 touches for each every game. And just paying them at their ADP, I think there's so much value in there. You're going to see them get up into the 100 range. They're going behind guys like Blake Corum, which make no sense. I mean, these guys are going to get far more consistent work, in my opinion, in a decent offensive environment, right? I just said Kyler's not special, but they signed Juwan Jennings. They have Jordan Addison. They have Justin Jefferson. The offense is going to be just fine. And having two guys that can score touchdowns on a weekly basis, and Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones, is an amazing value. And let's just say one goes down, and then you have the absolute nuts, volume back in that backfield. I don't think Claiborne is going to be a problem this first year, especially on the draft capital they spent on him. Yeah, so love Jordan Mason, love Aaron Jones, especially at their ADP. I don't mind just paying them together there, honestly, either, because we see that a lot in best ball. You can see these guys that can be weekly scorers with a touchdown and 40 yards, and I can see that from either back here. The biggest concern, health, right? Both guys have shown a propensity to be injured over the course of the season. But yeah, once again, I think I'm really high. I'm targeting this tandem pretty frequently, and my preference would actually be to get the two together in hopes they can form a pretty dynamic duo. And we see this in a lot of backfields now, right? Guys that split time and both can be successful. Both get near 1,000-yard rushers. Jones with the receiving work, and Mason just kind of punching in at the goal line. So yeah, I'm high on both these guys. I think at ADP right now, you're going to see that climb up and up and up to the hundreds. So at 122, 123, where I've been getting them lately, I love those picks.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, we'll disagree a couple points here. First of all, Jordan Mason is falling in ADP currently. Aaron Jones is climbing. Aaron Jones, over the last 2 weeks, he's climbed. I'm looking at it right now. He's climbed 3.3 picks. So like decent, right? We'll talk about a real climber in ADP here in just a second when I talk about my running back, my second running back. This is the thing. It's like Mason Jones is Jordan Mason has fallen a little bit. But I just don't, dude. I don't love it because it's like you just mentioned. It's like, okay, yeah, Aaron Jones is gonna get the receptions and best ball. I just feel like neither one of them is gonna like. When I'm drafting running backs, it's like I want spike weeks. Yeah, dude, they're like potato players. It's like, yeah, Aaron. Like some weeks Aaron Jones will have 60 yards and a touchdown, and some weeks Jordan Mason will have 60 yards and a touchdown.
That's perfect for best ball. That's perfect. Look at what's champs. Look at the winners. Draft boring players. Because they win fantasy points.
Yeah, dude. But those guys, most likely, like, yeah, that's some games when they have a good game, like their good game is that. So like, what over the course of a season, like they're going to score 2 to 3 weeks for you. So that's my take, dude. And I understand it because like as you go deep in running back, there is more and more risk. But like when you saw, even when the guys had like bell cow roles last season, it wasn't like elite level production, like outside of like scoring a couple of touchdowns. But like, again, to your point, like the guy I would prefer and the guy that's actually fallen in ADP, not risen, is Jordan Mason, because I feel like Jordan Mason is the guy that they're willing to give him on the goal line a little bit more. Aaron Jones Aaron Jones gets hurt a little bit more, although like Aaron Jones is probably the better running back.
Not predictable. You cannot predict it. And like, listen, look at best ball. Look at the ADP. These guys are going behind backups. One of these guys, they're gonna both start and alternate.
They're both gonna play like backups. That's why.
No. See, like this is where Taylor, I couldn't disagree more. And this is where people need to pay attention when you're drafting best ball. Is like best ball backfields are split. Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, they're going to be valuable on a week-to-week basis. You can draft a guy in this range who could get you 0 points for every week. Rookies in this range that might not see the field the entire season, or you could draft proven. Let me finish. You could draft proven veterans in the space right here, and in the back of a. This is a late round draft pick. You are not spending any draft capital in the best ball, and you have potential starter workload. And yeah, you're like, oh, they might score. That backfield is going to score what, 15 touchdowns? If these two guys stay healthy, they're going to be valuable on a week in and week out basis. That's just the fact of the matter. And they're too low at ADP. Yeah. There's no competition there. They're going to be. We go back.
The guy that I'm going to draft, there's a guy right behind that like actually has been rising in ADP and has risen 8 spots in ADP in 2 weeks, because a lot of other people, it's not like the public isn't always wise in this, right? Like Jordan Mason is falling in ADP and like he could be the better play between these two guys. I see what you're saying, and like, yeah, there is like safety to at this point in the draft. It's like, oh, you've taken a shot at some high upside running backs, and like you just want like guys that are going to be able to score points for you in like a couple weeks of the season. So I understand the play. I just probably won't get there if like at all get there. But and I mean, I hope that doesn't.
Explain to me about the cost. Why at all? Yeah. No. Why at all? you don't like the cost period? You think they're so? Do you think they're priced exactly where they should
I don't
be?
think they're so bad. I don't think they're so bad. I think they're fine at cost. I think they're fine at cost, but like to me, it's like when I'm looking in that range zone, there's just guys I like better. And like this guy, because hold on, I'm gonna tell you, and this is the guy, if we're talking about a real ADP riser, this is the guy who has risen 8 spots, one of the highest risers in the last 2 weeks, and it's Tyrone Tracy. And again, dude, you're gonna be like, okay, back up to this is the problem. This is the problem. We saw this last season when Tyrone Tracy took over. This again, we don't like Cam Scotto. If he's back, he's gonna get. Again, I was talking to a Giants fan, and they said this too. Like the plan with Scotto is not to give him he's going to be getting just as many touches as the Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones combo. It's going to be the same.
No.
Hold on. No, listen. Okay, so let me get my point here. And it's the same reason it's the reason that everyone's starting to draft him, and he's going to get pushed up into the range. By the end of the season, he's going to be drafted, getting drafted ahead of Jordan Mason. Like he's already almost there now. And like you may disagree with this, but their season projections are very similar. And I do again, we don't know what the offense is going to be for the Giants. There's question marks there. There's question marks for Minnesota.
There's not question marks for Minnesota. There's the totality of the offense in Minnesota is better.
No. There is question marks in Minnesota. There's a new quarterback there. It's an absolute question mark.
He's not going to be worse than JJ McCarthy. That's a fact. And last year, Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones were both valuable in best ball. At their ADPs, they were valuable.
The beauty of best ball is this. It's this. It's like we can have different takes. Again, I'm on the Tyrone Tracy side of this. And so the reason I won't be getting Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason is mainly because of that. Like I prefer Tyrone Tracy slightly above them, and he's like just behind them in ADP. And like again, I'm playing more like hero RB, and so like at this point in the draft, I'm not looking for. I don't need a guy that's like Jordan Mason or Aaron Jones on my team.
Let me just counter that point. And so these are the guys going around Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones. Once again, these guys are still, Aaron Jones is going at 129 and Jordan Mason 118. This is just Fantasy Pros ADP. You have Chris Rodriguez for Jacksonville, not guaranteed a role there. Wasn't supposed to be special in Washington. You probably have Tootin there. You have Rashad White for Washington.
Dude, this is a great point. You just bring up you brought Rashad White is a guy that I'm drafting. I like him. Let me
just go through these guys though, in their unguaranteed roles, where Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones have proven records in the NFL of being competent backs when they get the workload, and they will split to start the season. So let's just continue. Tyler Algier, no thanks. And you're talking about Tracy going 20 picks back. If Kim Scotto is healthy, it's just not going to be Tracy at all, right? Where we know Mason and Jones both have a role in the Minnesota offense when they're healthy. They both get 10 to 15 touches a game.
You're wrong. You were wrong. Cam Scotto, even in the games he was healthy, Tracy was still going to roll. And Tracy's going to get the reason that Tracy's projected, the reason he's climbing ADP is because, yes, they know they can't give Scotto 20 touches. Tracy's going to get 15 to 16 touches every game.
No, 15 to 16 is insane. If Scotto's dead, he's going to get 16 touches.
No, because
Tracy can't.
They're not giving Scotto 30 touches. They're just not.
This is as a ball knower, you should know. They signed Devin Singletary again. Devin Singletary took work from Tracy. Tracy was at the end of the season was bad. And so Singletary took work from him. We watched multiple games for the Giants.
Some of this, you have to use the wisdom of the crowd. The reason, again, he's risen almost 10 spots, almost a round higher in ADP, is because people see that.
People are scared of the Scotto injury. It's pretty simple. People are scared. People are scared coming back from a dislocated ankle. No, coming back from a dislocated ankle is scary, but once again, it's a three-headed backfield. So Devin Singletary is going to take work from Tyrone Tracy in a world where Scotto's not there. Yeah, we love Tracy be higher in ADP. Scotto's only as high as he is because we assume he's going to be fully healthy, ready to go in the season. And at best, Tracy's going to be splitting work with Devin Singletary.
But you have to deconflict those things there because Tracy's rising in the draft while Scotto still stays very high in the draft. Like the reason Tracy's not falling.
Based on Fantasy Pros FDP, ADP, it is. He's not. He's going around Charbonnet and Jonathan Brooks.
Right now. Okay. This ADP was just run on May 9th. So from April,
he's going to be this is the water bet right now. Water bet. Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason will both be going higher than Tyrone Tracy at all points during draft season.
Hold on. I'm going to say. Hold on. I can share this data with you right now. Okay. So this is how they do it. They draft. They look at position rank when it starts, where the ADP was when it started, and where it's at. So like basically on April 25th, let's just go to it. Tyrone Tracy was 140 overall ADP, 140.6. 2 weeks later, or like what today, May 9th, he is 130. He's moved up almost an entire round in ADP, and he's one of the highest risers. I'm just going to go to Aaron Jones and
he's going to stop there. He's going to stop there.
Jordan. Okay, again, Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones. Jordan Mason has dropped 2 rounds, and Aaron Jones has risen 3 rounds. So like maybe like again, this is somewhat strategy, but like you have to understand like I get it. Like maybe I don't really like Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones, and you don't really like Tyron Tracy, but for me it's like I'm taking.
So Tyron Tracy, there's a very different things from those running backs, and not to doubt you, but Tracy's the bona fide backup if Scottybo's healthy. Mason and Jones are both 1A, 1A. They're both starters. So that's the difference, right? Tracy's definitely the backup if Scottybo's healthy. Definitely. No questions about it. He's the backup. If Scottybo's healthy and he's playing well, Tracy's backing him up. Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones both they both play a different style. They're both in the game. They're both seeing at least 10 touches a game based on their play style. So that's the thing. That's where you're different. And once again, I go back to this. I'm drafting a lot of Tony Pollard this year. Draft boring picks. We see this. Sam Sherman won last year. Let me finish. Sam Sherman won last year drafting boring picks. These guys that have been in the league that are not that old, that have bell cow usage. Sometimes we want to draft the shiny new toy. These guys like Jonah Coleman going right around, and Jonah Coleman going right behind Tracy, and I don't like Jonah Coleman either. But that's my point. You could get Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones in that same range as Jonah Coleman, who might not have a role at all in Denver. Like, absolutely, give me Aaron. People are always going to undervalue these guys like Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. That's my point. And I think I understand what you're saying about Tyron Tracy.
Everyone's not undervalued. Aaron Jones is still getting pushed up. Like, this is basically this is the ceiling.
No, this is not. They are not getting pushed up. You actually don't. How many teams are there in the NFL? Let's do this math. How many teams? They're going as the 39th and 42nd running back. They're not going as a starter. Aaron Jones. They're not going as a starter. They're not going as starting running backs in the NFL, and they are both starting running backs in the NFL. This is my thing.
Hold on. No, you're misunderstanding. I'm saying where they were being drafted to start the best ball. Part of it is understanding like where is the public on it? Where are people drafting these players?
Yeah, they're too low. They're too low in my opinion. They're way too low.
In your opinion, Jordan Mason, but okay, the public disagrees with you there, and maybe the public is on with you. They're in agreement with Aaron Jones, but like that doesn't mean like you like both of them. I don't see the merit in both of them, and I get it. When I looked up their each guy's top 5 games from last season, they pretty much have like 3 games throughout the entire season. You're like pretty good. You're like, I'll take that game. Like that's
what you need a running back when you're drafting a 5th and 6th running back. If you're doing that in best ball, get the guys that have the upside to get the touches.
Dude. Hold on. Let's go back. If this is your 5th and 6th running back, I don't hate it. Like
that's why. Absolutely. Yeah. Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be?
Because if this is your 5th and 6th running back, you have like 4 receivers on your team. You have less than 4 receivers because they're in the 120 range. Like
once again, draft the boring guys. These guys are bona fide in their offense.
Yeah.
Skip the Tracys, skip the Colemans. That's my take.
See, no, you can't say skip the Tracy. Like you can't just because I disagree there. I feel like you don't like Tracy, but Tracy like objectively is like at this point in the draft is a value where you draft on that. Dude, but the guy that you mentioned that you should have talked about that maybe we can just combo on is Tony Pollard. And this is a guy. I mean, again, I'm using like
once
ADP
again, but we're not. My point of this show is to talk about guys that could be undervalued currently. Like I love Tony Pollard, but he's going in the 70 range, right? I love him. He's a priority for me, but I think we're getting
Tony Pollard is a great point. Tony Pollard is a great point because he's, I think, outside of Tyron Tracy, he's slightly below that. Tyron Tracy is one of the highest risers in running backs. Tony Pollard's right behind him. He's like risen almost 8 spots in 2 weeks.
And that's what I mean. He's going up. Yeah. So I think I'm talking about guys we can buy low. And like I think Tracy's where he's going to be. Unless news comes out, this guy goes hurt.
I don't move 100% with the market. If I want a guy, I'm going to get the guy. Like I'm going to draft Genty no matter where he goes. If he drops to pick 13, I'm going to still be prioritizing Ashton Genty. So like to me, it doesn't matter. But those are my 2 runners. So we won't even talk about Tony Pollard. I think we both liked him. I talked about 2 running backs. Yeah, and then I guess you went 2 running backs too, so it's a combo deal. So it's my turn to go receiver then, since you stole 2.
Well, it's not stealing too. It's you're playing the backfields. Once again, I'm always going to talk about this. I mean, you don't like Tracy in a vacuum. You like Tracy because he's part of an offense that could be good, right? And that's what we have to focus on. Is like I'm playing the backfield there. Play the backfield, right? Every backfield split these days. You have your superstars who are going to get all the work, but play the backfield. So, go ahead.
So receiver and like I think one of the first guys we talked about when we did our first stream was on the same offense, but I love Christian Watson. I'm just a huge fan of that Matt LaFleur offense this season. And I think at ADP, like his ADP hasn't really moved, right? You're going to still need to kind of prioritize him. I didn't want to steal another receiver I know you like, and I'm hoping he's on your list. So I didn't want to talk about him because I just hope you include him in this. But I'm a big fan. I feel like Christian Watson, I won't talk. I'll wait till after I get done with the spiel. But I think Christian Watson, again, like this is not a big bar to overcome. Like he probably beats, I mean, he definitely, I think he could beat Justin Jefferson this season. And like that wouldn't be a huge win if we see
what a bold take. He's not even near the quality receiver as Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I know. Hold on. I know. He's not as good as a receiver as Justin Jefferson. That's not the take here. And it wouldn't even be a big win if he beat Justin Jefferson's production from last season. Because I mean, 30 receivers beat Justin Jefferson last season, and so like. To me, it's not. I just feel like this offense is going to be humming this season. I'm going to be targeting this offense heavily, and I would never draft straight up Christian Watson over Justin Jefferson. But I think, like again, we're trying to make stands here. Like for me, it's like I do like Christian Watson a lot. I'll be taking him.
I love Christian Watson. I'm drafting him wherever I can. He's an amazing pick.
So
you can get him as a fourth receiver. It's not the value seems fine.
You can't get him at a fourth receiver unless you go 4 receivers.
I get him at fourth receiver all the time because I'm happy. I'm happy to go 0 RB.
Oh, okay. So that's a 0 RB.
As my receiver.
Yeah, you got to
easily. He's a guy that can be absolutely amazing this year with touchdowns. He's such a good bet. Jordan Love's a good offensive facilitator. I'd say. Lost competition with Romeo Dubs. Yeah, I mean, I'm all about the Christian Watson hype train.
Okay, let's go. So I knew we'd find some synergy there. And like Dylan, this is a somewhat bold take, but like I would not be surprised, and I wouldn't stake my claim to it yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the season we're looking at Christian Watson having a better entirety of his season, especially in fantasy, over Justin Jefferson. So I don't know. I mean, again, maybe I'm somewhat sour on Kyler Murray, but all right, I'll kick it to you next. What do you got? What do you got? You gotta.
Yeah, I mean, you go on these bona fide guys that are absolutely going to score. I'm going. Like,
No, stop.
I'm going.
Stop. In basketball, you have to draft bona fide guys. I want exposure to the guys. I think
Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones, bona fide.
No.
Let me get to my guys.
Hold on. To me, this is how I feel. The best guys. It's like if you really like Christian Watson, it's like I want to talk about getting because I want 30 to 40%. The same thing you did in MLB best ball. You love Jordan Walker. Or like even the guys are like, I'm 40% on White Langford. It hasn't worked out, but like that is just how I play basketball. Like to your point, it's like you want a double win.
Right, let me get to my speculative receivers, and these are way more speculative and not sure.
You don't have to be speculative. They don't have to be speculative. Like,
but for me, they are. For me, it's just because I want to target this team this year. I want to. Frank Reich obviously is going to change the system here in Miami, and it's going to be a little bit different the way they run the offense. But I'm excited about the pass catchers there, and you're going to be able to get the 3 guys I like the most at very, very cheap value. And you're buying uncertainty, right? So I always like to buy if there's any upside here. These are just guys that could ride your bench the whole season and still win the best ball tournament. And that's Chris Bell, Malik Washington, and Caleb Douglas. Obviously, Caleb Douglas and Caleb Douglas and Chris Bell are not guaranteed to get spots here as starters, but Chris Bell is an absolute menace at Louisville. Amazing. If he has a quick recovery, we could see him, week 2, week 3 on and as a potential starter. And we saw Malik Willis as a passer was phenomenal last year. I love getting a lot of Malik Willis. So I'm trying to find a pass catcher on the team that could be valuable. Malik Washington was obviously the one last year towards the end, obviously when Water was kind of up and down and hurt. So he's interesting, but I think the upside case for Bell going at pick 200 is fascinating to me. And, I don't even know if on a lot of teams, if Caleb Douglas is even getting drafted. Obviously, we have an ADP on Underdog, but it's not even listed because he's going undrafted most of the time. And he's another guy out of Texas Tech who's just a really fun player, has a lot of skills to be valuable in this offense. And it's just buying the uncertainty. At the end of your draft, when you have, let's say you have a Malik Willis quarterback and you're just looking for pairing options, we know correlation means everything in best ball. You really want to have correlated stacks, especially when it comes to the playoff weeks, to kind of get those kind of multipliers and just get the score up there. So I'm interested in all 3 of those guys. At cost, it's probably Caleb Douglas because you're actually paying some sort of draft capital on Malik Washington and Chris Bell. If I was betting on upside and a guy that had the most upside in this offense when he's healthy, it's going to be Chris Bell. I think he's a guy that was a potential first-round draft pick if he didn't have that knee injury. So, yeah, like Chris Bell a lot. You're kind of hoping that he's there for your playoff run. I'm hoping he doesn't miss a little bit of the beginning of the season, because the more he gets, up to speed, the faster he gets up to speed, the more likely he is to be a contributor down the stretch. Yeah, so it's really those 3 Miami pass catchers, the guy I'm currently buying at ADP. And I think you could see any 3 of those rise as we get offseason news, right? If we hear Chris Bell is healthy, he's going to start trading him pretty early on, and he's maybe an okay upside go week 1. I mean, giddy up because he's going to get steamed up to the moon. So, yeah, those are my guys.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Bell's already been I've drafted a lot of them. I like him. It's funny when you were saying these guys, I'm like, damn, you totally took guys that like you're trying to just convince people to fill their team with players that are never going to score. I'm just talking shit. I do like Chris Bell. Chris Bell is like,
yeah. And this is
stop. Let me
who you drafted in the draft.
I like Chris Bell. Like,
listen, you're the donkey that's drafting. You're the donkey that's drafting Oscar Delp. Oscar Delp probably won't catch a pass this season.
No, it's just I'm just talking shit because I do like Chris Bell a lot. Like, and I would draft a lot of him because I'm drafting a lot of Malik Willis. I don't love the pass catchers there because there's a real path to like none of those guys being valuable like at all. Depending on how they run the offense, right? If it's just a bunch of Devon Achane and a bunch of Malik Willis runs, like even last season, like with Jalen Waddle, like there was like 1 or 2 games you're like, oh, Waddle's nice, but everyone else sucks. Or the tight ends are just like, okay, they're still in touchdowns. And I like Bell. I think he's like too low. I think if you're looking for a value receiver late, let me just get to this point here. I like Bell a lot. I just not like. I don't think you meant it this way. I don't think you'll be drafting all 3 of them on the same team, though. I think you're probably
absolutely will. Absolutely would draft all 3 with Malik Willis, and this is the case. I think everyone kind of assumes that Malik Willis is just a run first guy. What he showed last year on tape as a downfield passer was amazing. And let me just clarify some things with you. We're looking for stacks that could go off in week 17. These are the guys, Chris Bell. No, let me finish. These are the guys. Let me get to the point. These are the guys that these receivers are competing with. We know Washington's probably going to be the starter. Caleb Douglas and Chris Bell are competing with Tutu Atwell and Jalen Tolbert. Those guys both have it. Let me get to the point. Let me finish. It's my turn here. Those guys are far more talented. In an offense where Malik Willis showed his arm talent like he did last year, you get 3 starters. Obviously, you have Devon Achane there. You're looking for any 3 of those guys to be valuable down the stretch at their ADP. There was worse clicks. There was worse clicks down there, right?
Yeah. Okay. It's a strategy for me. What I would do, I would never draft all 3. I will draft. I like Bell, and so Bell will be the priority. If I don't get him, I may add Washington. I may add Douglas on. But like the way I would build if I'm drafting 3 receivers there, especially like guys, I'm taking shots across different teams. Though, like I'm gonna do something like I would do Bell, I would do Zachariah Branch, and then I'll throw in like Malachi Fields, and I'll have exposure to 3 different offenses. And let me get this point: Zachariah Branch right now projected as the number 2. Malachi Fields right now projected as the number 2, and then you get Bell, like arguably could be the number 2. And so like then I have exposure to 3 different offensives and 3 different guys that do have upside. And like again, that is just I like them. I don't.
We're different. We're different. We're talking about stacks, and stacks win championships. Stacks win championships.
There's going to be weeks where like 2 of the guys I just mentioned could be valuable. There won't be a week when there's 2 Miami pass catchers valuable for a scoring week. And what you can have if you draft the way I just discussed is you could have Branch and Douglas could be valuable, or Branch and.
So why would you ever draft Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams together then?
No, but you're talking about a different range.
They're way higher up. That's my point. When I drafted Jared, I just drafted a Jared Goff team. This is great. This is important. How we.
That's so good. You just said you can't compare Amon-Ra to Jameson Williams.
No, you can't. No, like, I'm not comparing them to. No, you just need to understand this, and how you win best ball is not what Taylor says. Is how you stack teams. You need to stack teams. So I'm not saying. Let me finish. It's my turn. When I drafted Jared Goff team, I drafted a Lions stack, which I really liked. I drafted Jameson, I drafted Amon-Ra, and I drafted Tesla, and I drafted Laporta. It's very unlikely those guys do anything in the same week, like where it's a need to have score. My point is, when you get to the championship and you need games that could go nuclear, if you're spread out, if let's say one of the Miami Dolphins pass catchers has 2 touchdowns in the final week, you don't know. No, that's just you're laughing because it's insane. Malik, it's like I actually think you don't like Malik Willis as a quarterback.
He's one of my highest exposed quarterbacks.
He's a better thrower than you would assume.
You're missing the forest of the trees. This is what I'm saying is, what if Malik Willis in week 17 has a bad game, and now you have 3 receivers, 3
guys.
No, stop. 3 receivers are tied up to a quarterback that didn't do anything. So now you have 3 guys. You have 4 roster spots.
At the end of the roster spots, first of all, you're gonna walk to the bank for Oscar Delp. Oscar Delp's gonna help you.
No, he's gonna save you. This is the thing: is focus on the argument at hand, and that's Zachariah Branch and Malachi Fields. Dude, hold on. Let me just get this point across. Then, it's like, maybe Miami's offense had they have a bad matchup, right? It's like in that scenario, now you have outs to score at that position. And like you have upside in those guys too. I'm not saying, dude, those guys should, this is a good example. This is my Lions stack I just drafted. I want to talk about this here because this has the Washington stack on there as well. Those guys shouldn't have to score for you. At their ADPs, they'd be fine. You should be able to win a title with them giving you 0. This is an example of the team. It's Jalen Hurts. Yeah.
No, I just want to talk about it because you're talking about you don't need these 3 guys to score. It's Amon-Ra, it's Devontae Smith, who I love this year, another guy that we could talk about as a guy that's going to be stalwart. Jameson Williams, Tucker, Tesla. I have Deshaun Stribling for the 49ers could be upside. And then my last 3 receivers are Chris Bell, Malik Washington, and Caleb Douglas. All guys that could potentially be the number 1. And they're as a number 1, let's just say they're the number 1. That's 6 other receivers I have that need to score. That's my point. I don't need those guys to score, but those guys.
That's okay. In my opinion, I think it's a bad strategy. I don't like it, but I understand why you're doing it. I don't like it as a strategy. And that's the thing is, guess what, dude? There's 2 ways to skin a cat. There's gonna be people that win.
Yeah, Taylor seems like I'm a heavily correlated stat guy. Like when I'm drafting Willis, I'm correlation. I'm not drafting Zachariah Branch and these other guys
because I draft correlation. I am talking about in my strategy with that offense in particular is not that I like Malik because he's one of my highest exposed quarterbacks, and I love pairing him with. I love pairing him with a pass catcher. That's just not like, it's just not what I'm.
So which one? Which one do you have the most confidence in?
Dude, I like Bell the most, and I like Malik Washington because he will be.
But you can't. You said those are 2. Which one are you picking? If you could just.
I'm picking one. No, that's a great point. That's great. I will pick one in the draft depending on like where I'm at.
Just which one though? Okay. That's my point. That's my point. It's like you can't. You can't just pick one. You can't just pick one.
No, I'll explain to you right now. If I went receiver heavy early on, I'll draft Bell because I think Bell has more upside. If I need more value and stable, I'll draft Malik Washington because Washington is proven. And while I don't think he has the upside as Bell, I will draft him because I feel like he can score on a more week-to-week basis. If I need a value receiver, I'm like, hey, I need a guy to give me 50 yards and a touchdown. It's done. That's the strategy. And I will continue. Again, that is my theory on it. And I get why you're drafting 3 receivers, not for me. From the same team.
It's just stacks. I want correlation. I want to correlate my team.
But it's not just stacks blindly. I'm not just stacking team blindly. I'm going
not
again.
Blindly. I'm not playing Tutu Atwell. I'm not drafting Jalen Tolbert. I'm stacking guys lower.
I'm not saying your strategy is wrong. Just for that team, I think there's nuance between different teams. It's like I am a stat guy. Like obviously in best ball too. Don't draft one-off players across the board. I will stack. That's literally how I draft. It's just for specific teams. I won't do that. I'm not going to draft. I mean, for your points, would you draft 3 of the Vegas receivers?
Absolutely. I've done that multiple times. Naylor, Tucker, and Beck are all interesting, and they're essentially 0 cost. You should not. This is the thing where we just disagree, and I want my heavily correlation at the end where these guys. You asked me a question.
No, I trapped you because I said. No, I like the 3 Raiders receivers.
You asked me a question. Let me finish. You asked me a question. Let me finish. They're very similar to the Washington guy. I mean, the Miami guys. They're no different. So you draft Jalen Naylor, Trey Tucker, and Jack Beck. They shouldn't have to score for you any weeks. Where you draft them, it shouldn't hurt you if none of the 3 are valuable. That's my point. The Miami stack is the same way. I don't know. Yeah, you're paying less cost in Miami. You're paying more for Naylor and Tucker. But my point is, you could easily get Mendoza and all 3 guys, and that should be a tertiary stack. That doesn't even matter if it produces week to week because you paid such a low cost for them. Yeah. So you didn't trap me. In what way did you trap me? I
trapped you because for the Vegas team, I do like the 3 pass catchers.
How's that a trap? How's that trap? I like them too.
I know. I do. No, you thought I wouldn't like them. That's the reason I asked that because I do like that. That's what I'm saying.
No trap for me. Obviously, I'm highly correlated. I would absolutely draft Mendoza as 3 pass catchers and Brock Bowers.
There's not a blind strat. That's what I'm saying. It depends on the team.
It depends. It's not a blind strategy. It's an absolute strategy for me. I want it's high correlation. We see this time in and time out. The people that win best ball, that we've never won the millies. We never won the big best ball mania. We never won the big tickets. It's always heavily correlation. It's always high correlation.
100%. But it's not blind correlation for correlation's sake either.
It's not blind correlation. What is blind correlation? Blind correlation is I'm playing a guy that's definitely
you go in and just draft this guy plays for this team. I'm gonna draft him for this team as well.
That's a retarded thought process. Douglas and Bell are both guys I loved in college that both have. I'm not drafting Tutu Atwell. No, this is my point. Is it blind? Is it blind to actually know what you see on tape and know that these guys are super valuable in their offense and know that they have the upside? They have the upside. Let me finish to usurp Tutu Atwell and Jalen Tolbert. That's a fact. If they usurp them and you're paying a cost where no one's drafting Douglas and you have a Malik Willis team, it's a fact. He's not a bad draft pick. Look at Douglas's tape, look at Bell's tape, and tell me they're bad players. They're not bad players.
Dude, that's cool. Cool. Dude, it's really cool. I liked him in college as well.
Don't tell me it's a blind strategy. It's not a blind strategy. It's an intentional strategy. Drafting back end stacks.
100%. I'm intentional about the way I stack, and I agree that I like individual pieces from the Miami offense, but I won't draft all 3. And I like that you're doing it because again, dude, there's 2 ways to skin a cat. I hope it works for you, and I hope my strategy works.
Don't say it's like betting on guys
So-
with high upside at the end of the draft is what you should do, right? Like
100%.
I like the guys in the middle that can get you safety, but
to me, it's I would take.
you love Oscar Dell.
No,
Oscar Dell does not have the same upside in his offense.
Dude, you keep bringing up Oscar Dell. He's not even part of this conversation today. This is how I would draft those 3 receivers. I would personally, especially depending on if I went like 3 studs at receiver, I would draft Bell, Zachariah Branch, and then Malachi Fields. And I would rather my team have those 3 guys than Bell, Malik Washington, and Douglas. And like, dude, I get your
Bell, Zachariah Branch, and who's the third guy? They're all going the same range. Douglas is going way in the back end. He's not even going drafted. So you can't draft those 3 guys together.
You can't draft those 3 guys together. Yeah, absolutely.
No.
You can, dude. I'm looking at ADP right now. You can absolutely draft those 3. Malachi Fields is going undrafted too. He's going the very end. Like you can get with the last pick, and then obviously you can get Zachariah Branch around where you can get Malik Washington.
Right beside Bell.
Yeah, like hold on, I'm going to it right now. No, Chris Bell. So right now, Chris Bell is ADP is 189. Zachariah Branch is 208.
Let me see. Pull it up here in underdog.
I have it right in front of me. And then Malik Washington is
right beside Bell. No. So this is
Malik Washington right here is 197. He's dropped. So Malik Washington has dropped 14.
This is just I'm sorry, I'm looking at receiver order. So right in receiver order, we have Bell at 76, receiver off the board. We have Malik Washington at 79, and then we have Zachariah Branch at 80.
100%. Yeah. So I would go, and to me, it'd be Bell, Branch, and then Malachi Fields is how I would draft in those receiver spots. Again, dude, I understand why you're doing what you're doing, but like that's how I would prefer that. Okay, but dude,
once again, I'm correlating stacks. That's all I want. I'm just
me too.
That's my complete sell case for the Miami offenses. You're getting cheap correlation. That's the end of the story.
Yeah, cheap correlation works too. So I was really hoping you'd go like a nice, like, hey, draft a good like stud receiver, because you mentioned a guy. That was one of the guys on the list I was hoping you'd bring up is Devonta Smith. Like at ADP, people forget, like people think at ADP is like, oh, I have to go like below like a certain threshold. Dude, at ADP is like draft the guys, draft good players, draft the good guys when you want to get them and get a whole bunch of them.
That's obvious, right? It's obvious we know Devonta Smith's a good player.
People don't take 30% stands on investment. Dude, even like a lot of people, like 15% is high for a lot of people, right? Think about it. It's a 12-person field, like 12% is average. Like people take 15 to 20% stands, they think that's a lot. Like Devonta Smith, and I'm going to group 2 guys because you went through receivers, and I think you may have already talked about this guy, but Terry McLaurin, who's around behind him. Like those guys would be priorities for me, and like especially if I can steal like a running back early, like an Ashton Genty. I like to get those like 3, round 3, round 4 receivers, and I think Terry like will continue to get pushed up, and Devonta Smith too. It's like, I mean, he just could take over there.
For Terry, obviously, I'm super high on both those guys as well. I mean, once again, I only brought up 3 receivers because I'm correlating the team. Like these guys playing opposite teams, so that's a different.
But you
obviously like both these guys.
Yeah, I know you do. I know that's why I wanted to bring up Devonta Smith as well. But they'll be huge priorities for me. Like I'm just looking at guys. Like, I mean, let's see where right now Devonta Smith is so he's receiver 13. I mean, he just like, to me, it's like I like him more than AJ Brown. I don't know about you, but I just
exactly. I agree. Yeah. The guy that's going.
I like him. I like him better than Nico Collins. I think I'd like him better than George Pickens. Like
I don't
it's
know.
like to me.
I won't go past that point.
I won't go past
100% over him. I mean, the guy I'm the most uncertain, and you like Tracy in this backfield, but I'm unsure about Neighbors. Like I don't know how healthy he's going to be.
I can't draft Neighbors. I'm just like, he may not be ready for week 1.
This is another good example. A guy that's going above him and overall based on ADP and he's the receiver behind him is T. Higgins. They have Devonta Smith at 838 and they have Higgins at 36. Like Devonta Smith all day for me. Wide receiver one in his offense. And if you watch Devonta Smith tape, his tape is amazing. He's such a good receiver. Without the diviness of AJ Brown like clogging it up there, and I think it's a really good fit for him to kind of be an alpha finally.
Yeah. And listen to this range of receivers for where Terry is. So like we'll end with this because I know we've been chatting for a while, but like it's Jalen Waddle at receiver 24, then it's Terry 25. Devonta Adams 26 and DJ Moore 27. For me, it's just like obviously Terry there. I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
the second
he's another one of my high correlation guys, right? Like him and Jaden, I love.
And Antonio Williams, I like that. And I think DJ Moore would be number 2.
As long as Ayuk doesn't go there, I've been drafting Williams, and I just hope Ayuk doesn't go there, because that would just muddy it up a little bit for him.
Yeah. That would definitely. I mean, you can't really draft Antonio Williams then, right? Like you draft him, and
that's what you take a stab and just hope Ayuk's washed.
He's gonna have to drop. He'll have to drop line ADP if you.
The other guy, my contention there is like I am unsure what to do with Ladd. Ladd's going right around obviously a little bit above Terry there.
I already talked about Lad, so I didn't want to bring him up in this pod because last time he was one of my guys. He's just like, yeah, I like him a lot.
We liked him last year and he sucked, but it's just like with Mike McDaniel coming to town.
Exactly. Dude, well, anything else, man? I know I'm traveling, so my internet's kind of shit, so we don't have to keep this as long because
that's all I got. I know we disagree on some things, but once again, I'm taking speculation ads, and obviously sometimes you got to speculate then and bet now before these guys get steamed up and hope that you bought them, you bought the stock low. Because these are penny stocks. These are penny stocks. You're talking about. Listen, let's be honest. Devonta Smith and these guys atop their Tesla. I'm buying penny stocks for these Miami guys and just hope one of them is a big hit. That's all I mean.
Same with me. It's like once again, if one of those guys.
But those other rookies. This is my point though. Like if you stack a team with 3 receivers and let's say Malik Willis just supports a wide receiver one season for one of those guys. Give me zeros for the other 2. I don't even care which one it is. At their draft cost, if one guy can be a top 12 wide receiver, it's worth all the squeeze of drafting all 3. That's just my point.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, dude. The reason I love, hold on, I really do love Zachariah Branch and Malachi Fields, anyways. Because they're going to be number 2s. Like right now, if you look at the rosters, like who's playing receiver 2, and like I know you like both those guys in college. Like obviously, Malachi Fields.
Zachariah Branch is a guy that's not a very talented down the field receiver.
He's a low 8. He's a low 8 guy. He's a low 8 guy, which is somewhat of a concern in that offense. But something about the hometown narrative, and I feel like they are going to want to get out and use him. And I think he's a guy that could have 50, 60 receptions potentially this season, which is not a ton. But I think if a couple spike games,
I just don't. If Kyle Pitts stays in Atlanta, I just don't see the upside for Branch. I just don't. I see Drake London getting a lot of usage. They have. Obviously, Bijan gonna soak, and that's where I think it's weird. I'm not gonna draft a lot of Branches. I think once again we should end this pod, but Branch is he's not gonna compete with the short area targets with Bijan. He's not gonna work down the field. They're gonna get him set up with these bubble screens, which they do because the thing about Bijan is they run him out wide so much. Like he's also a wide receiver there. Like that's just a fact, right? I don't think Dotson's going to have much to say. And people like Dotson. They liked the Falcons picking up Dotson. And I don't think Olamide Zaccheaus is going to cause them any problems. But I just see, even if he gets the shoe in number 2 slot in that team as a pass catcher, as far as receivers go, he's still behind Pitts. He's still behind Bijan. He's still behind London as far as pass catchers go.
Yeah,
and he does not. And where is
I mean, right now it's I know I'm somewhat going with the consensus here, Zachariah Branch, just given how much he's moved up in ADP, but and that could sour as we get more info if they trade for somebody. But I like him a lot. I mean, especially there's some narrative there as well. And again, part of it, the art of the build is that hometown guy, played college ball there, and
that doesn't matter at all for me. That doesn't matter.
I know art of the build, baby. So sometimes you got to lean into not that that's a heavyweight. But how's
the art of the build? He's what's his upside? What's his upside?
Now you're just going to nail in against it. But who's the guy you're going to talk about?
What's his up? I mean, I'm just picking apart the Branch and then Malachi Fields. Malachi Fields is not going to start for the Giants. He just won't. There's no path to playing time. But because in front of him is Darnell Mooney, who they brought in obviously from the Falcons, and Darius Slayton as the kind of the field stretcher, and obviously Neighbors there. And then you just run unlikely. It's unlikely Malachi Fields catches more than 20 balls.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, but in Trent, this is what again I'm staying with the Giants fan, and he knows the team.
That's the thing. Of course, he's gonna like his draft pick. Yeah. Shocker! Every draft pick we made is so good. Yeah.
Malachi Fields is going to play some where Darius Slayton plays. Darius Slayton is getting older, and you're going to see Darius Slayton come off the field quite a bit more. Obviously, Wan'Dale's gone, and so there's going to be targets vacated. And dude, is Malik Neighbors going to start week 1? Probably not right now.
Wan'Dale and Malachi Fields are way different players.
I'm not saying they're the same player, but guess what? Malik Neighbors may not be there either. So guess who's going to be playing week 1 if Malik Neighbors is hurt?
Dude, if Malik Neighbors is not there, giddy up Malachi Fields. But other than that, no chance.
Who's the other guy you're going to talk about?
It's just simply him and Zachariah Branch. Once again, those guys have clear paths to not even being a chance of wide receiver 1 in their offense. That's my point. If we want to put those guys up against the Miami guys, one of those guys is going to be the wide receiver 1 for the Miami offense. We just don't know who it is. That's the truth. Yeah. These guys are both competing with alphas. Drake London, Pitts, Yeah, Drake London and Pitts, and then Malik Neighbors on the Giants side, and then likely coming in. So this is my point.
The premise, you're talking yourself out of Zachariah Branch. I think
I never liked him. I never talked myself into him. Like I'm never talking. I can't talk myself out of him if I was never in to begin.
You're going against the consensus.
Watching it, fine. Go against consensus. That's how I get different and win, right? But the thing is, for me, is like Zachariah Branch in college. Zachariah Branch in college was nothing special. At USC, bust. At Georgia, kind of a bust. Like just a bubble screen guy at best. Has no down the field acumen. I'm not drafting a guy like that.
No. See, this is where you're wrong. This is where you're wrong. This is where you're wrong. He doesn't. It's not. It wasn't a player profile, like a lack of ability in Zachariah Branch. It was the way that Georgia ran their offenses, which is why people.
What about USC? What about you at USC? He was a heralded freshman at USC and was not special at all.
This is what they said. This is what they said in the combine too. They're like, Zachariah Branch is better than what you saw in college because of how the teams used him. And the Georgia offense typically, like what we saw most recently from him was not good, right? It's low A dot stuff. You don't want that.
USC is an absolute air raid offense, and they couldn't use him at all either. He was not good there.
Yeah. I mean, dude, again. I mean, some of that's you're blame on youth, but I think that there's like you can't just be like, hey, Zachariah Branch is just the player he was at Georgia because that's not an indication.
But once again, it's all about upside for me. Like, what's his path to wide receiver one in that offense? Drake London, death. Kyle Pitts, death. Bijan, death. Like,
but like, the receiver one in the Atlanta offense will be much better than receiver one in Miami.
Are we sure? Are we sure about that?
Because they have fucking Drake London.
Are we sure about that? Are we sure that Tua is better or Michael Penix Jr. is better than Malik Willis as a passer? No. I would argue.
Drake London is better. No. Drake. I mean, dude. Malik Washington and Chris Bell couldn't even serve Drake London lunch.
First of all, what a fantastic comment you just brought up. Christopher Bell has the side to fucking put hands on Drake London. Let's be honest. Christopher Bell is a menace. Watching him at Louisville, he absolutely, and first of all, he won me $20K last year, so I always have a soft spot in my heart for that guy. But he's an absolute. Yeah. He's a first round draft caliber guy because of an injury. Fell a little bit in the draft. Not an issue for me. Yeah, looking for wide receiver one. People are always
2026.
Yeah, Bell over London. That's obviously retarded. Don't do retarded things because they'll just cancel your draft like that. So, but my point is just this: there's going to be a wide receiver one there. I think people just see Malik Willis as a rusher, and he showed things on tape last year that are special as a passer. He could easily. This is the truth. He could, if he throws for 250 yards a game as a passer, which is like, yeah,
if he throws for 250 yards a game, fucking dude, the sky is falling. It's like I would lose my mind if he threw for 250 yards a game. There's no way.
In this system, he probably won't. But like, you're gonna get guys in space. This is just we're just vehemently different. I mean, I'm way higher on them that Miami offense than you are.
I love Malik Willis, dude. He'll be one of my highest on quarterback.
We'll draft some speculative ads at the end of the draft. Then draft Caleb Douglas, a guy that's a special talent.
Like I said, I will, dude. I will have a Miami pass catcher with most of those. Like most of my Malik Willis teams will have one of those guys, but we'll have one of those guys. But dude, I think that's it for today, right? You good? We'll talk about some baseball tomorrow.
Yeah, let's do
Hopefully we won't today. I'm gonna send you my team so you can destroy me for my takes. But,
yeah. Let's just look. So I want to pull up a game where Malik Willis had a good, because he didn't start, but one game last year. Started against Baltimore.
One game. No.
He started. No, I see now. Started 2 games. So started against Baltimore, 18-21, 280 yards passing. You're not going to see 35 attempts from him again, but you're going to see 25. And if you have explosives, that's where you win, right? So that one with that, I mean, higher in Miami than you, but we'll see what happens.
No. See, that's where we're on. I think I love Miami. Miami's going to be a high draft. Like, I'm going to draft Malik Willis and a receiver everywhere. I just won't be doing what you discussed in drafting 3 of the receivers. I understand why you're doing it, but I won't be doing it.
Put your chips on correlation, folks. That'll win you the game.
Again, dude, but I love
correlation, folks. Zachariah Branch does not correlate to Malik Willis, so that correlation there.
Dude, see, that's cheap, dude. That doesn't make sense because I talked about like all the teams I've had in the finals, but all of it. It's all about correlation. I'm not saying that. I'm saying for the way that you discuss it for this specific team, like I am not going to be doing it with the players that they have currently. Like if they bring in another alpha receiver, like I'm more interested in adding another alpha. Like if they brought in, like,
if they bring in another receiver, I'm totally off the spot because
I would still. No, I still like Chris Bell.
It's all about that potential wide receiver one upside, and they have it there because there's a lot of uncertainty, and by the uncertainty, why it's uncertain, right? So, all right, that's all we got today.
All right, later.
We'll jump back on and talk some baseball soon.
Yeah, later, sir.